Welcome to Often Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport. Tim Walker will be joined by Matt Young and Oli Cownie as they delve into the form for today's Pinjarra harness meeting, as well as an early look at tomorrow's meeting at Gloucester Park. We are Often Pacing.
Great to be back with you for 2025 on Often Pacing. Tim Walker with you. Hopefully you've had a wonderful weekend and ready to launch into a new week. Pinjarra today, Gloucester Park tomorrow night. And as always, got my experts standing by in Matt Young and Oli Cownie. We'll get to them in just a moment. Jocelyn Young will join us today off the back of a terrific Friday night. Steno was back in a big way in the Laurie Kennedy for the girls, and also took out the free-for-all with Hampton Banner, who was mighty impressive in the way that he went about it, and he's racing very, very well at the moment. So that is all to come over the next 25 minutes or so in the run-up to 9:30. Plenty on the agenda today. Not going to waste any time because there is a lot of ground to cover with Matt Young and Oli Cownie. Matt, to you, first and foremost, good morning once more.
Good morning again, Tim and Oli, and everyone tuned in.
And Oli Cownie, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim. Good to have you back on board, and good morning, Matt.
Great to have you guys on board as well this morning. I was just talking about Jocelyn's winning double there. She's going to join us and talk about that in just a moment. But to you, Matt, just chatting to you off air and getting you on the line ready to go again. And good to see Steno back in that sort of nick there on Friday night.
Yeah, she was sharp and she looked to do it really easy. So she'd had a freshen up going into that race. So you imagine going forward, she should bounce off that run pretty well and improve even more. But she's very potent over a mile and basically any distance, but over a mile when she can reel off those quick sections so effortlessly, she's incredibly hard to beat.
Before we get into your horses to follow, Oli, your thoughts there on the $50,000 event on Friday?
She was dominant again, Steno. That's just the setup she absolutely loves. She zipped straight to the front there over the short course, and she was just way too good for them. It's not one of my horses to follow, but gee, Waterloo was fantastic there returning on Friday. I thought she was a terrific run in defeat. You know, there were a few horses on the pegs that were a lot closer to Steno and sort of had their chance to beat Waterloo, and she just came flying down the outside to pinch third. So she's certainly one to follow, and I think, you know, despite how classy she was as a 3-year-old, I think she might have come back and shown she can match it with those free-for-all mares. So really looking forward to seeing what she can do. Yeah,
just looked like she'd probably come to the end of it around the Oaks time last year, Waterloo, but that was a really encouraging performance on Friday night, and hopefully if she can continue in that vein of form, she's going to be a wonderful addition to our mares ranks here in Western Australia. All right, you forecast some horses to follow, Oli. Start us off.
In race 2 is the first one I've got for us to follow. I thought Rock and Roll Artist just showed again that this time in he's come back a much better horse. Had to do the work there on Friday night, and probably just for the most part hasn't been a horse that's noted as being a really, really tough horse. He's always been a very fast horse, but he was able to run second there after facing the breeze, which I thought was a terrific effort. They zipped home 27-3, and he's definitely a horse that just keeps stepping up each time he goes to the races. So I think there's a race for Rock and Roll Artist soon. He's got brilliant gate speed, so I'm sure he'll be leading soon, and when he leads, I'm sure he'll be winning. So keen to follow him. The next horse I had to follow was in race 5. It was the race for the 2-year-old Colts and Geldings, and I thought there was a horse here which was just really unlucky and buttered me up. It was pretty heavily backed there throughout. I think it was about $18 at one point and started closer to $5. So certainly a few people found it, but it got the perfect run of the leaders back and just couldn't get out there and looked to be travelling really easily. So considering that was its debut, I think it was a really promising effort and certainly will be hard to beat wherever it goes its next start. And the third horse I had to follow was in race 7. I thought this was nearly the run of the night, Regal Cheval. It was just a terrific effort, worked hard off the gate in the early stages and then found a position. There was a bit of trouble. It caught the flat tyre and it was still fighting out the finish there with Sugar Apple, which is a classy enough horse himself. So I thought that was a fantastic effort. He obviously likes the mile, so but I think it'll be hard to beat in any race going forward. Regal Cheval there as well.
All right. So that is Rock and Roll Artist, Butter Me Up and Regal Cheval. What about you, Matt, with some horses to follow out of Friday?
Yeah, the ones Ollie mentioned are spot on, basically. I thought there was plenty to follow out of Friday night, and even mentioning Waterloo, she was brilliant in her performance as well. But, look, same race for Waterloo. I really liked the way that Nullarbor Navajo return, came in off of a freshen up and a pair of 27s on the way home, and she was absolutely breathing fire just in behind them. She finished closer to last than first, but I just love the way that she hit the line, and I think she had a pretty rushed preparation last time to get towards the Mayor's Classic and to have a little freshen up and come back in and probably where everything's sort of lining up. I think Nullarbor Navajo can have a really strong prep, so put her as the first horse to follow. I thought Maternal Dreams was hitting the line really strongly in the fillies division of the Western Crown, and she was just tightened for room late, but she was fairly sizzling through the gaps when they were coming. So, look, I think Maternal Dreams could be one to follow going forward out of that, and also didn't mind the run of Feeling Aces later in the program, who, to be fair, has been sort of a little bit in the wilderness as of late. We know that he nearly won the Narrogin Cup last year, but I thought he was a decent chance to be one to follow. He's got the capabilities of being able to drop back, and I thought Feeling Aces is one to follow going forward. So Nullarbor Navajo, Maternal Dreams and Feeling Aces.
All right, that's for Matt, some horses to follow out of Friday night. Now we turn our attention to today's program at Pinjarra. 9 races to look forward to. And Matt, we'll let you keep rolling because you're going to go to the middle part of the program and Ollie's going to hopefully bring it home for us in the back part of the program. But race number 5 is your starting point today.
Yeah, I thought I thought the middle part of the program was sort of where we could go to try and make some money. But the 5th race, look, I like Soho Shakedown. Not sure what price he's going to go up, but I think he's got the gate speed to get across and lead, and I thought he could just continue on his winning way here. So I was very keen on him. Race 5, number 5, Soho Shakedown. Race 6, I thought Spangled Fella was a really good chance to be able to run into the money. Spangled Fellas, I think, can get through into a really strong position. I'm hoping for a half-decent place price, but yeah, once again, it's all price dependent, but I'd be playing the novelty strong around the Spangled Fella to be able to run second to Blaze Away. And in race 7, I thought Arian Rock was really hard to beat. There is a little bit of speed underneath, but I thought Arian Rock could burn a candle at both ends and still have plenty at the finish to be able to fight on. So I thought that was the way that he's been racing. He's ready to win. This is the right sort of grade, and he should be able to get across a large portion of those in the early stages and get into a strong position. So race 7, number 7, Arian Rock. Race 6, number 9, Spangled Fella. Plays strongly in the novelties, and race 5, number 5, Soho Shakedown, I thought would win.
So that, of course, was your best bet earlier on your preview on the Sports Daily today. Now, Ollie, you're also going to race 7, but you're just playing it a little differently to Matt.
Yeah, I've tried to find something in this race which I think might be able to run over the top late. I'm hoping there'll be a bit of speed on Arian Rock. Gee, it'd be awfully hard speed if he did find the front, but I'm hoping something either makes him work or something else leads in the race, and it opens it up for Humper Magic, who I think has been really good in her last couple of starts. She's now 4th up from a spell there, so I think she'll be nearing peak fitness as well, and she's quite a classy mare at her best. So I certainly think if the speed is on, she can be running home strongest, and she will appreciate the big track at Pinjarra. So I'm thinking she's an each-way bet there and should be hard to beat with the right run. Race 8, I was keen on another one that I thought would be running on in the concluding stages. I think Champagne Star was a terrific effort last start. Started from a really awkward barrier. It was inside the back row, and just nothing in that race worked out at all. And finally, when Champagne Star got into the clear, just powered to the line late, and really with another couple of strides would have been winning that. So I certainly don't think she needs too much speed to be on there, to be finishing off really strongly, and looks a really strong hope in that race, I thought. So over the 2100, I think she can be coming over the top there. And then in the last as well, I've gone with one that I think might be a little bit of value out wide. The Freelancer, I think, was in a race that was a touch stronger last start. It was an up to 55 race, and it drops back into an up to 50 race, which just looks a smidge easier. So I think the Freelancer, it did all the work last start and just got a little bit tired late, but they ran 27 down the back, and it was a pretty good effort there, second up from a spell. Comes into this race third up from a spell. I'm not really too sure how it'll work out from that outside barrier. That certainly will be a difficult decision for Mitch in the early stages, but if he gets it right and the Freelancer gets a good run, I certainly think in this company he can run into the money and would be a good knockout winning hope. So that's how I'm happy to play race 9.
All right. That is the Freelancer there, along with Champagne Style in race 8 and Hunt the Magic on the each-way basis in race number 7 for Ollie. Now, let's turn our attention to Gloucester Park tomorrow night and just some early thoughts from you too. Ollie, we'll let you keep rolling. You're going nice and early in the program.
Yeah, race 2. It actually looks a really interesting race, this one. There's probably a few ways it could play out with some of the more accomplished horses being drawn out wide on the track, but I was happy to be with Soho Confidential, who I think's been really good recently, and he does possess really good gate speed, and that helped him last start get across onto the leader's back trail behind Copy of Paris, who I think is quite a handy horse as well. And if he's able to do the same here, he has options in the early stages, and he could potentially lead, or he could hand over to one of Lord Publisher or Always Be Frank, who have some gate speed as well themselves. So I certainly think with that run on the pegs, he'll be hard to beat. I'm more on a place line, but I still have a little something to win because I do think he is racing well, and he's a hope with the right setup. And then I was straight on to the next race, a horse which I just think is screaming out to win. Torpedo Rock has just been absolutely fantastic in recent starts. Last start just took on a really strong race there, won by Blaze On, and it was a fantastic effort to run into third from a long way back. Was held up at a crucial stage, and this race just looks a whole lot easier. So I think if Torpedo Rock can get the right run just off the speed or even on the speed the way he's racing, I think he'll be really hard to beat.
All right, so that is Soho Confidential in race 2, something on the winning basis as well as certainly place from Ollie's perspective, and Torpedo Rock in race number 3. Now, Matt, you're also going to race 3, but are you in the same camp as Ollie, or do you look at it a little differently?
No, I'm in the same camp as Ollie. Torpedo Rock was a brilliant last start, and I thought it would be really hard to beat in this race. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the early stages. There's some speed inside, but I thought Torpedo Rock could get into a reasonable enough position, and from there is going to be really hard to beat. So race 3, number 5, Torpedo Rock to win, and race 6, number 3. I was quite taken by the performance in trials of Ruby Lou. It's got plenty of early gates, but I don't think You Fly With Me will get too involved. It's not racing well, and Jillaby Jake's not as quick as he used to be. I thought Ruby Lou could nearly bounce on the bunny here, and then that would be all she wrote. So I was keen race 6, number 3, Ruby Lou, to get the job done, and hopefully race 3, number 5, Torpedo Rock as well.
Excellent. Now, Ollie, just one quick one without notice before we do let you go. Last week, obviously, we got the news confirmed that Don Hugo would be making his way over to WA to have a crack at the Nullarbor, and hopefully off the back of that as well, the Fremantle Cup. Certainly that's the plans of Swayze and Jason Grimson, and we saw that about 3 weeks ago now. That news was broken, but we've got the Inters winner coming west as well.
Oh, gee, it's exciting, isn't it? It's just an absolutely fantastic field that's been assembled, and certainly Rawa should be commended for putting on such good prize money that's incentivised these great horses to come across the Nullarbor, which probably is something we wish we'd seen more in recent times. Catch a Wave was able to do it recently with great success, so I'm sure horses of the quality of Swayze and Don Hugo will certainly be right thereabouts in the finish in those big races. And Don Hugo, he wasn't beaten too far, and I think he ran about 5th in that Hunter Cup, and Swayze was obviously a very impressive winner. So they're both really high-quality horses, and I can't wait to see them get around Gloucester Park there. I'm sure it'll be really competitive racing.
Certainly will be, and it's 3 weeks today until the Pinjarra Cup, so from there it'll really start to take shape, the build-up to the Nullarbor and also the Fremantle Cup a week later. It's not far away. Matt, today, all of the action on the Racing WA Harness X page down there at Pinjarra?
Absolutely.
Beautifully done. We'll let you go. We'll catch up with you again tomorrow morning on the Sports Daily. And Ollie, thank you for your time this morning. We'll catch up with you again next week on Off and Pacing. And the boys were back, and they were back in good form on Thursday on Talking Trots.
Yeah, they certainly were, and I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Tim.
There is Oli Cownie and Matt Young, your experts for Off and Pacing. We'll take a short break. When we come back, one Young to another, Jocelyn Young will join us.
You are listening to Off and Pacing on Tab Radio, Racing and Sport. Montana Glory, wonderful to fly, and then came a Charney Girl into the straight though, and it's all Steno. Steno's race right away. Peaceful, Montana Glory getting out, wonderful to fly, a Charney Girl, and then Waterloo down the outside. But Steno's going to absolutely bolt in from Peaceful, wonderful to fly. Waterloo late with a Charney Girl, but Steno wins it easily. Second, Peaceful. Third, Waterloo.
So that was Steno's return there on Friday night in the $50,000 Laurie Kennedy. Great result for Jocelyn Young, obviously driving Steno to victory, and I'm sure would have been happy as well. Peaceful, able to make it a stable Quinella. She is with us on the line now. Jocelyn, a very good morning to you and congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you. Very exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. How good, first and foremost, just to have her back after a little bit of time off from the back end of last year.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when you're taking her to the races on a Friday, you're always a pretty good chance. So that always makes a Friday a bit easier, better than when you go there and you think, oh, this could be a long night.
Yeah, absolutely. Just on the confidence levels going in, clearly she was well found in the market, rightfully so. It looks her hitting zone, that 17:30. But were you confident that she was forward enough to go and do what she did?
Yeah, the Saturday previous, she worked like really super. So I was quite confident that, you know, that she was going to be sharp enough and forward enough. And as I said, the mile was her perfect distance, and then she drew pretty well as well. So all things were sort of in our favour. Absolutely.
The way that she's come back off that little bit of a break, is she going equally as well as last time, where we know she was very, very good in winning a couple of feature races for you?
Yeah, well, obviously that was her first run in 6 weeks or whatever, so she definitely takes a lot of benefit from that. She'd only had a fortnight off though, so I don't think she lost a whole lot, but she did do pretty well in that time. But yeah, I think she should only really get better. Last year when she won that race, she broke 52.
Yeah.
So, she was sort of untouched on Friday, and she won with the plugs in, but I actually think she won last time with her plugs in too.
Yeah, so she was very dominant on that occasion, the race you referenced last year, the Laurie Kennedy, and of course the same style she did it this year. Is it possible to think that she's got her best racing still in front of her?
Well, I mean, she sort of took a little while for us to figure out how to work her since moving from Sydney. So she did have a bit of a patchy campaign initially. And then, since we've worked her out, I mean, sometimes I just think, how can she be any better? Like, she's super fast, and I think that's obviously her best asset. And she just, as long as she's somewhere near fit, then she's just always going to be fast. So I don't know, I'd say that she can't really do much more.
Yeah, for sure and certain. Obviously, there's some lovely mares races that are coming up over the next couple of months here, and she played a big part in all of those last year. Would you entertain trying to take on the best of the best over the next couple of weeks as well? Would you throw her in the deep end and take on races like the Pinjarra, Bunbury Cup, or even other races that are coming up beyond that?
I guess it just depends. We were sort of thinking about if she got an invite to Sydney, we would sort of aim at that and try and make her campaign around going there. So obviously we wouldn't want to over-race her and then travel and whatnot. But yeah, obviously there is plenty of options for her, but she probably suits the shorter distance better. And I mean, if you had an opportunity to travel with a horse, they don't come along very often, so that would be pretty cool.
Now, Peaceful finished second there on Friday night in behind Steno. Was it everything you could have asked for from Peaceful?
Yeah, definitely. She probably wasn't as forward as Steno, and maybe that trip's probably not ideal for her around Gloucester Park, the way that she goes. So she did a really good job. And in the 2 weeks off, she did so well. So I actually wasn't even going to race her. I thought, oh, she's probably not quite ready. And Steno just absolutely brained her on the track on the Saturday. So I was a bit like, oh, do I, don't I? And then obviously it didn't look probably overly strong. So I thought, might as well leave her in, and then she come up with a good draw. So, yeah, and obviously she went probably as good as she can for where she's at.
Yep, job well done there. And it was a case of job well done as well with Hampton Banner, who's won 3 of his last 4. And even outside of that, when he wasn't winning, he was still running really good races. Just first on Friday night, did you think you'd be able to get the other 2? No,
I was sort of coming, or just after the bell, I think I got the plugs out when Junior started to put the pressure on. We sort of dropped off a little bit, and I wouldn't say he was struggling. I think it was just the increase in tempo left him a little flat-footed. But normally I've thought, oh, we're going okay, and I've come off the back of a helmet, and then like that's sort of it. He's just whacked away. So I thought after we'd done all that work early, like we were wide, they were going hard. Took a little while to find a spot, and then I thought, you know, if I can just hold the back of Junior's helmet, we might still be able to earn. So I was quite surprised that he actually picked himself up and managed to win.
And he's just racing really well at the moment, isn't he? Just three of his last 4, and as I mentioned, in between all of that, it's been a model of consistency as Hampton Banner's form.
Yeah, well, I think it's safe to say he's getting better with age.
Yes, yeah. 18 wins now from 95 starts, and who knows, if he's one that can hold it as well, he might have a role to play in these big free-for-all races going forward.
Yeah, well, we know, like, he's definitely he's speedy enough. I think he's had his share of little issues from the time that he come over, or something that was underlying before he even come over. So he's done a super job, all things considered. And yeah, I suppose it just depends what's around. Like we've probably seen quite a few of the free-for-allers that have sort of been around for a while. I guess it just depends if there's anything new popping up. But yeah, he's obviously more than competitive, and the form that he's in now, well, don't see why not.
Were you happy enough with Instigator's performance, obviously in behind 2 of the fancied runners there on Friday night?
Yeah, he was okay. I think that he's better than what he did. I mean, we stayed out of the early burn. He had the perfect track, and they only ran home slow. So really, I thought he should have been like right in the thick of it. So I guess in a way I was a little disappointed, but I know he can be better than that. So just got to work out why he's not being better than that.
All right. Now, just an eye towards today, Rock Rosie Rock. So has got a task in front of her in race number 5. Obviously drawn 6, but with the scratching will come into 5. So racing well. Do you just need a little bit of luck here to be able to return to the winner's circle once again?
Yeah, she has been racing well. She hadn't had a run for a little while till she raced at Bunbury, and she really surprised me how well she did that. She had a little freshen up over Christmas. But yeah, I mean, she's a consistent sort, but she doesn't win all that often. So I'd be surprised to see her win. But yeah, running a place, definitely.
All right, so that is today, race number 5 down there at Pinjarra. And just a word, Skylord, what's the latest with him?
He's just living it up in the paddock at the moment. I need to go and get him, but I'm just trying to prepare myself for the headaches that he brings. So I think I'm enjoying the break probably as much as he is at the moment, because there's always something with him.
Yeah, hopefully a couple of smooth campaigns can be on the way and spare you a few of those headaches. But I'm sure if you're taking Steno there won't be too many headaches on Friday nights at Gloucester Park while she's there, because she's going along very nicely and certainly at the pointy end of the mares ranks here in the West. Jocelyn, thanks for your time this morning. We do appreciate it. Good luck over the next 48 hours.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
There is Jocelyn Young with us on the program this morning, having a look back at Friday night, a successful one at that for her. All right, that is us done for Off and Pacing. Hopefully there's a few winners there for you today from Matt and Ollie, and also tomorrow night as well. An early look towards tomorrow night at Gloucester Park. We'll be back again to do it next week. Up next, we'll have our previews from the East Coast ahead of a busy day of racing, a busy Monday of racing here on Tab Radio Racing and Sport. Look forward to your company again on Off and Pacing next Monday morning, and the Sports Daily tomorrow morning from 5:30.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelpline.org.au.